my gaijins, it's almost that time of year again to go and file your final tax return. Last year, I received almost 100,000 in refunds from the government. So in this video, we're gonna talk about what the tax return is, when to file, how to file, why to file, and what you need to file. So stay tuned for more on Living Gaijin. So let's start with the basic question. What is the final income tax return? Okay, so this is where taxpayers calculate their income from January 1st to December 31st and the amount of income tax that was withheld from their salaries. If there is an excess at the end of that calculation, then the government will refund you the difference. However, if there is a deficiency, then you will have to pay up to the government what you owe them. So in basic terms, that's what the final tax return is. So when do we file our final tax return? There is a set time when you file your final tax return. It is usually between February 16th and March 15th of each year. And you can file from as far back as 5 years. So if you have never filed 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years ago, then this year you can file for those previous years. And hopefully if there is some refund, woo woo woo, you may be receiving a hefty return. Most wage and salary earners do not actually need to file their final tax return because their companies usually take care of that for them. However, here are 5 instances where you will need to file your final tax return independently. The first case is if you are making 20 million yen or more. The second case is if you have 2 or more employers who actually withhold tax from your salary. The third instance is if you have a side hustle that is making you over 200,000 yen per month. The fourth instance is if you are self-employed or managing a company or you're working for a family company. The fifth situation in which you need to file your taxes independently is if you are working for a company that is not required to withhold taxes at the source. So this is more for individuals that work for companies overseas or individuals that work under the table. And the sixth and final case where you will need to file your own tax return is if you are leaving Japan before the end of the financial year. Now, if any of those 6 cases applies to you, then here is how you go about filing your final tax return. Your final tax return can be filed at your local tax office, or in Japanese, your Zairyuu, or you can submit it via mail, where you complete the application forms and you submit the required documents, or you can create your account on the e-tax system. I know it's mainly in Japanese, but once you do it the first time, it becomes easy peasy like cheese. So whichever method you decide to use to file your final income tax return, these are the documents you will need regardless of whichever system you choose to file your. The documents that I'm gonna tell you about can be found in the description with their Japanese names attached. So just in case you go to your city office and you're not sure about it, you have access to those names in Japanese. The first and most important document you need is an identification card. This can be your alien card or a certificate of your permanent residency, something that shows that you are whom you say you are. The second document you will need is an original copy of your income and withholding tax payment record. And this document is usually provided by your company or the person paying your salary. So if you do not have it, please ask your company to issue you a copy of that certificate. The third thing on the list is your bank book. If you are qualified for a refund, then you will need to give your account information for receiving that refund. And please ensure that the person filing is the owner of that account. They will not send money to an account that doesn't have the name of the individual that is filing. Now, number 4, your personal incan. You will need your personal incan to stamp those documents. However, if you do not have your personal incan, then many of the tax offices allow you to just sign your signature. So don't worry if you do not have a personal incan. Next list of documents that I'm about to list are for those individuals that are going to claim deductibles for dependents as well as taxable deductibles. If you're going to claim deductions for dependents, you will need copies of their identification cards. So whether it be their alien cards or a certificate of their permanent residency, some identification card that shows the name of these individuals. And this also includes dependents that are living overseas. So ensure that they scan a copy of their identification card. It can be their national identification card of that country or their passport. Usually, a lot of tax offices prefer if you use a passport copy of those dependents that are overseas. But if they don't have that, then their national identification cards should suffice. Now, another important element to this identification is proof of relationship with that dependent. So there has to be proof of family relations. So in addition to the identification card, there needs to be some form of marriage certificate or birth certificate that shows or that proves that relation. If your child was adopted, then there needs to be some adoption certificate to show as proof that indeed that person is a dependent of yours, as well as a relative or some relation of yours. Now, to claim deductions for dependents, you will need to have receipts from the financial institution proving or showing the funds that were sent to that dependent within the financial year January 1st to December 31st. However, if you did not use a financial institution to send money and you delivered the cash or the funds directly to that individual, then there needs to be some affidavit or proof that the money was indeed delivered. If you are making taxable deductions, here are a few things you will need to show in order to get those deductions. You will need payment receipts for your national health insurance. Usually at the end of each year, your city office sends you a document that summarizes all of your payments for your national health insurance. However, if you have not received that and you pay via your bank book, you can take your bank book, or beforehand, you can calculate each monthly payment that you would have made and then just take that sum with you to use at the tax office to insert on the document. In addition to your national health insurance, if you pay pension, you will also need the total amount that you would have paid between January 1st and December 31st. You can also make deductions for medical expenses. So if you would have paid high medical fees or dental fees as well, you can take those receipts. Now, here are some other taxable deductions. You can make deductions for disability, travel work expenses. And if you work from home, you can also make deductions for even your bills. Or if you buy supplies for your work, so if you're a teacher and you buy supplies for teaching in the classroom, then you can calculate the amount of money that you would have spent and write that sum down on the application form. Let me not forget single parents. Single parents, you can also make deductions for each of your children. And that is it for Living Gaijin. If you have questions, please leave me a comment. I've been filing my tax returns for over 5 years. I might just be able to help you out. If you have not already done so, please subscribe, like, and share this content. And for more regular content, please check out Living Gaijin on TikTok. Catch you next time. Sayonara!